Okay. What's up, guys? I am James Hake. This is the Hake Report. I'm wearing my White History Month t-shirt, courtesy of the Jesse Lee Peterson store, although I don't know if it's available right now because people, there is a big anti-white push in the culture, obviously. And so Teespring and Spreadshirt don't want to sell it. Don't want to sell White History Month t-shirts. They hate white people. And so you may not be able to get it right away, but hopefully we'll be working on making it available to you guys. The Jesse Lee Peterson store. Findable updates, findable via rebuildingtheman.com/stores. It is 9:02 a.m. U.S. Pacific Daylight Time, and which song do I want to play? I have two more LN songs for you guys. Let's do Morning Stories. Morning Stories. That would be a nice LN song for the beginning of the stream here. While you guys come on in and join me. Enjoy this from LN. Very nice. Crank it. No. Can you hear it? Is the volume good? 1 for good, 2 for too loud, 3 for too quiet. I know a lot of you guys, some of you guys are actually enjoying the LN music. Boomer Stare. You need a t-shirt that says Boomer Stare. That's your guys' word, but thank you. I have some super chats to read today. It is Friday. Did I say the day? It's April 9th, 2021. I heard April 9th was the day that the Confederates surrendered to the Union. 1. Some 3s. Most people are saying it's loud enough. I'm talking now, so. You know, this is a sad song, and it may be a sad day. I don't know if DMX is gonna make it. Our rapper hero. Man. I have some pocket headlines to read to you. People complaining about racism and getting paid for it. Can you believe it? What's ridiculous? Paid for it. Shout out to Big Bump for the tip. And other fake hate crime stuff. Biden's going for the guns. And the Derek Chauvin trial. A little bit of updates on that. And your calls. 888-775-3773. Forrest C says, y'all audio setup is whack. Well, thank you for the heads up on that, Forrest C. To me, it sounds okay, but I can't tell. A lot of ones. Tucker stare, says Chris. Man. Yeah, so LN. It's kind of sad songs, sad music. I wonder if this is a sad man. Okay, let's fade this out. It's 9:05 a.m. here. We got to get started with the show. Thank you to LN for the beautiful music. Gary Murray is the guy. Gary Murray and LN. James, you don't listen to rap music because you don't respect black people. Oh, it's that woman. I banned her once. She's so evil and nasty. Okay, guys. Let's get on with the show.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
Hey, guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
So isn't it interesting? They reward evil and punish anybody who tries to stand up for what's right. Dig up all kinds of dirt about them, and it's just evil. I have some super chats to read to you guys quickly that I just have to make sure that I do it. So I'm just going to do it. I'll do it now. I'll do it live. Forget it. You heard yesterday the phone call from Zach from Columbus, Ohio. Young man, teenager, going to high school, in his third year in high school, finishing up. And he wore a cool t-shirt, maybe a little violent-esque, I guess. Because it said it had a picture of Uncle Sam carrying a knife, and it said, "End the enemies of freedom." Something like that. And I passed along some advice from the older, wiser people about, hey, maybe you want to wait to be making a splash in the world until there it is, there's that beautiful t-shirt, if you're watching the videos feed. Meet the enemies of freedom and end them. And it's from Grunt Style. That's from Grunt Style, in case you want to look it up. With an American flag in black and white on the sleeves, one short sleeve, and the other sleeve it has some muskets or cool rifles, cool old school rifles, crossed in a logo type of a thing on the other sleeve. It's cool. It's cool. It beats the rap stuff that people wear now and the other degenerate stuff, slutty looking stuff that the women wear, and now guys are doing it too. Ugh. So I passed along some words of wisdom from a man named Asmodor in the Trovo chat, and he said, "I salute the young man for his beliefs and his vigor, but we need men like him to be successful and influential in adult society. We want to protect them from themselves while they're young." And yeah, it might be a little rash in calling George Floyd a thug in class and getting sent home from school for telling, what's kind of the truth about George Floyd. George Floyd being the black victim who had the knee on his neck or on his shoulder blade, or a little bit of both, who knows. And I told him, you might want to lay low, be wise. And Asmodor said, until he's old enough to know the consequences for his actions. Yeah, be smart. Don't be getting all excited and a mess. I got a text from Bible Go-To guy. He said, lay low at school. I'm not sure if he agrees or disagrees entirely. Lay low at work. Lay low if you have a business. He said Mike Lindell, the My Pillow guy, did not lay low, and his business was hurt. Because Mike Lindell, very strong supporter of President Trump, or let's call it outspoken supporter of Trump, bold and unashamed of that, and also an outspoken Christian. He wears a cross and he prays, and he's a Christian. He advertises on Fox News. Should he lay low? Asks Bible Go-To guy. Well, it's too late now for him. So only retired people can speak and act without concern of being punished? It's the world we live in. Trump is not exactly retired, but he made his money. And in 2012, I think they threatened to boycott President Trump for telling the truth, or 2011, 2012, because he was playing like he was maybe going to run for office. I remember him saying something that I liked that was smart back then, and then I forgot about him after that. So you don't have to be retired, but you have to be wise. He said it would have been better if he took the shirt to the administration to ask them their opinion instead of just wearing the shirt. Be wise. Don't just lay low. Yeah, I agree with that. Be wise. You don't always lay low. There's a time to not lay low. Yeah, maybe he could have. I don't even know if it entered his mind that he could get. Maybe should have, that he could get questioned on that shirt. Because this shirt does have a knife, and it looks a little bit, has red, so it looks like it could be bloody. I don't know. But thank you, Bible Go-To guy, for the input. Shaggy Boy with the bunny egg on Trovo, whatever that means, thank you. And Brandon M, too. Appreciate those. Corbra Coy, I forget if I read this one. In Texas, early voting is good. You have to go in person and show IDs. It keeps the lines shorter and easy going. Okay. I think I did read that one. Fabriette said Trump had our economy booming, and those who voted for Biden will see when their unemployment runs out. I don't know if they're going to let that happen. They want to keep the people sufficiently spoiled that they'll either vote for them or not so-called rise up or whatever. But thank you, Fabriettes, for this super cap on trovo.live/The Hake Report. He also asks, Corbra Coy 99 said, is the homeless getting trash? Getting every trash day or once a week? Or is that monthly? I'm sure they found a loophole in Trump's CARES Act. So that's a reference to a story that I covered, and Jesse Lee Peterson also covered it in the third hour today. I covered it yesterday, I think. That up in NorCal, south of Sacramento, in a suburb called Elk Grove, it's kind of like a Sierra Madre or something compared to Los Angeles, right? Very nice area. There's some white homeless who are getting paid to clean up their trash that they create. They can still have their tents and dirty up and blight the city, but as long as they clean up the trash, they can get $20 gift cards every other week or something like that, or every month or something. Maybe even every week. Yeah, it's paid for. The city is paying them with money from President Trump's CARES Act, which was an act for stimulating the economy during the shutdowns, right? As well as HUD, Housing and Urban Development, which is housing and urban development maybe should be disbanded because they are just all about social justice, redistribution of ghettos, pretending that there's racism in our housing stuff. It's ridiculous. Asmodor says the homeless should be picking our crops instead of the Mexicans. Bringing the Mexicans up here. Yeah. The farmers could put them in a bunkhouse and they wouldn't be homeless anymore. Nice. Nice idea. That's manly thinking. And Lin Yen Chin is subscribing, renewed his subscription for a 3-month subscriber over there on trovo.live/The Hake Report. Trovo is a replacement for DLive because DLive has demonetized Hake. The Hake Report. What a shame. DLive thinks I'm too edgy. But Jesse Lee Peterson, you can still support Jesse Lee Peterson on DLive. Thank you guys for following me there, but head on over to Trovo, see what you think. DLivers. And I will be reading your super chats on Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/The Hake Report. Appreciate it. First, oh man. People Magazine reports. I had a headline for you about TMZ. TMZ is not always reliable, and they are evil. But they were reporting that DMX's organs were failing, and his life support decision looms. But I get a push notification from my news app. People Magazine claims DMX is dead at 50. Rapper DMX, I told you about him during the week. Darkman X. Earl Simmons. Maybe I'll hear from Earl and we'll be able to... Hopefully I'll hear from Earl today, or maybe not today. Doesn't have to be today, Earl. And we'll make sure that that's not the same Earl. Earl Simmons calls himself Darkman X, and everybody knows him as DMX. Those who know him, right? Of him. Dead at 50, a week after the rapper suffered a heart attack. I saw some news floating around, and I think it may be fake news, that he did not take the drugs or whatever. He got the COVID vaccine. I don't know that to be true. I really doubt it, actually. But it sounds like a trick from someone who's trying to discredit the so-called anti-vaxxers. Real G's never die. Sad face crying. Says reloaded. XXX reloaded. XXX. Over there on Trovo. Yeah. Rest in peace, DMX. What a shame. How many brothers fell victim to the streets? Rest in peace, young N-word. There's a heaven full of peace. Full of G's? For a G? I don't care at all, LOL, says Triple Baconator. Cold, manly, heartless. I also heard, speaking of death, I also heard our late friend Cheryl. Black Cheryl. She never went by Black Cheryl, but the black lady, one of the black ladies from church from January in a recent church clip that I put out. I'm the producer for the Jesse Lee Peterson, Church with Jesse Lee Peterson stuff. And the clip was, "Are you better than a child molester?" Jesse Lee Peterson, you know, there's all this hype because the world is so degenerate. The only evil thing that exists anymore is child molestation. That's the only thing that pretty much universally people recoil at, right? The gays recoil at being called child molesters, right? Although they do joke about it sometimes. Some of the weirdo transgenders down in Comet Pizza, there was one guy or gal or transgender or something that made a joke. "Oh, we all have our preferences." Weirdo music. Speaking of weirdo music, right? But there's all this hype and there's this emotionalism and this self-righteousness about, "Oh, I may be evil, but at least I'm not a child molester." And so Jesse Lee Peterson had, back in January, a biblical question about it, and it was great. A lot of good input. I had to cut it down to 15 minutes, but there's a lot of good input. You can re-listen to the Church with Jesse Lee Peterson from January 17th, 2021, and Cheryl appears in it. I was like, oh, because she died not long after that. Crazy. Anyway, I got to get to some calls. I have people on the line, 888-775-3773. One line open for you guys. Robert in Kansas says, well, hang on. Find out what Robert wants, because I'm not sure what he's talking about. Lucas in Inglewood. Lucas, our friend Lucas in Inglewood. What's up, Lucas? How you doing?
I'm doing amazing. How are you doing, Hake?
Doing fine. Nice to hear from you.
Yeah, no problem. Just want to give you an update. So have you heard about what's going on Tin Horns in Burbank? Tin Horn Flats?
No.
The restaurant? Oh, really? Oh, dang. It's starting to get a big following. Even Will Witt was there the other day.
Okay.
So, yeah, dude.
Will Witt, the PragerU guy. He was at one of the men's conferences a couple years back. Okay.
Yeah.
So what is that place called? It's a restaurant that's getting shut down or something?
Yeah, it's a restaurant/bar. It's called Tin Horn Flats, and it's in Burbank. And currently, they're constantly being shut down and boarded up. The owner keeps removing the things, to reopen his business, but he gets arrested. I believe it was last Tuesday that he got arrested for the third time because they put sandbags this time. They boarded up and put sandbags, and he removed the sandbags and he got arrested again.
Wow.
Yeah. So, well, first I want to ask, because I got more information, but first I want to ask you, should he be doing that? Should he be just keep reopening his business? Do you think that's the right thing? I mean, in my opinion, I just want your opinion. I'm saying yes. I think he should keep doing it, but what do you think?
I don't know. I don't know the situation. I do know that the shutdowns are evil.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, it's up to him what kind of risk he's willing to take, because they have been throwing people in jail and stuff like that. So if he wants to take the hit and show us in the world, the rest of us, how evil the world is going to come down against him, then he should go for it, I guess. But it's all about what he's willing to go through and what he wants to do.
Well, I believe it's working. Last time I was there, I came a little late whenever he got arrested for a third time, but still there was about 30 people. The time that I went on time, there was like about 60 people.
Wow.
Took over like all blocks, like all four corners. And yeah, a lot of people are protesting that right now. Yeah, but I just wanted to say, just kind of, if I can I use like your platform just to tell people like Tinhorn Flats, like what their, so they could see their account and stuff on Instagram?
Oh, what Tinhorn Flats' account on Instagram is?
Yeah, if that's all right. So they could see what's going on and they could see that stuff.
You're talking about the business's official Instagram account, right?
Yes.
Sure.
Yes. Yeah, it's Tinhorn Flats Burbank, and and right now people are making a lot of fake accounts. So
right, okay.
It's the one with a couple of thousand, has like 2,900
that
followers.
happened.
So make sure.
That happened to our bagel queen. There were a lot of fake accounts that were even linked from New York Post and other news outlets to fake Instagram accounts of our bagel queen. I forget what her name was. Stephanie from New York.
Yeah, it even happened. It even happened to me and my girlfriend's account, and it happened twice. There's so many fake accounts, so many fake accounts were even.
Barrett Lepedjian, is he an Armenian Christian man or something?
I believe he's Armenian. Yeah, but but they're pushing forward, and they're not even hiding what they want to say, and which I like, because it is their right to have their business open, and COVID is not a real law. It's all fake.
Yeah, they're like executive orders, and they may be unlawful. Burbank's, this is a headline from January 11th, 2021, like 3 months ago. Burbank's Tinhorn Flats faces business shutdown and legal action over its refusal to close. Owner B-A-R-E-T, Barrett Lepedjian, L-E-P-E-J-I-A-N. When you see the I-A-N, that's why I thought that it was a Armenian guy. Has been vocal about staying open despite surging so-called COVID numbers and state mandates. Interesting. That's according to eaterla.eater.com. Interesting.
Yeah, that's the owner, and the person that's running it is his son. His name's Lucas.
Oh,
just like my name. Yeah, his name's Lucas.
All right.
And
thanks for the tip.
Give you an update. Yeah, most definitely. You should maybe do a story or tell Jesse about it. Maybe they talk about it, because it's right here, right?
Appreciate it.
From LA.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, there are other places that were interviewed by a Daily Caller guy around this LA area who've tried to stay open and stuff and try to do right, and they're taking measures to protect people still, make sure that things are done right, but they don't respect it. It's a control freak, evil mama government.
Yeah.
And female-minded public, because there's a lot of people in the public that are like, oh, you should be shut down. It's terrible.
Yeah. Well, I believe the biggest reason why this is happening is because that was kind of like our go-to place, after the Trump rallies and Trump protests or stuff like that, we would go to Tinhorn right after. It's not far from Beverly Hills or, far from, where people live. A lot of them live, more like up, above, like upland and all that stuff. So yeah, that was like our go-to place to go to, and everyone would be trumped out, at the place. So I believe someone reported it, and keep reporting it because that was like, the Trump's like bar and restaurant.
Okay, thank you, Lucas. Appreciate it, man. Take care.
Most definitely. Thank you for having me on. You too.
All right. That's an Armenian, says Chris Anderson. I think it is, probably. Burbank, very Armenian area. Burbank, Glendale, all that. Okay, North Hollywood, too, a little bit. Chris, do you want advice from a caller? Yeah, sure. Okay. Let's get this over with. Robert in Kansas. How are you doing? Good to hear from you.
Hey, it's a beautiful morning on the flat earth here in northeast Kansas. How you doing, brother?
Doing well as well. Thank you.
Good.
It's mountainous here.
We don't have to talk about Chris. I can say that I missed Joel, and I haven't seen him on Jesse, and it's like, damn, man. I really grew to love Joel. I like how he talked back to Jesse, and a lot of people won't do that, but Joel, he would talk back if he wanted to. So I'll miss him for that for sure.
Interesting. Cool, man.
And as far as Chris goes, I mean, I think everything's running smooth, so that's a compliment. But he's definitely, I'm seeing him more, and so as far as his looks, like how he dresses and everything, I'd say pay attention to that, and then for now, just because.
What do you mean by pay attention to that? Is he lacking in how he's dressing?
No, I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just saying, if you look good, people treat what you say differently. And so if you're going to be on the show more anyway, and then just for now, like this advice I got as a young person or whatever, and I'm not saying he's young, he might be our age, Hake, I don't know.
Yeah.
But just as someone in a new position, I would just say shut up. Don't do anything special. Just pay attention to the job and focus on what you're doing for at least a few weeks, 6 weeks, whatever, and just really learn from the job. And then if you want to do, other different things later, but just kind of the advice of just shut up. Don't say anything. Don't do anything special. Just run things how as best Joel trained you or as best Hake can train you. And then if you want to do something different later, then, you'll have the good training and the experience to do it anyway.
All right. Appreciate that. Well, I appreciate it. I don't know.
We don't have to talk about that.
He says good advice. He says good advice, and he says thanks for the compliments. And he's 32. And he's 32.
He's 32?
Yeah.
So he's a little younger than we are, huh?
Yeah.
In his young 30s, huh?
Right.
So, hey, but this guy, this President Biden, he's going to do what with the guns now? Like, they don't ever talk about being overweight or heart disease or cancer or any of these things that are killing hundreds of thousands of people a year. And I know math is racist, hey, but do you know how many gun deaths we have per year? And then how many of those are like from suicide?
A lot.
And then what do you
like a third?
Down to? Yeah, and then you're down to a bunch of gang shootings in Baltimore and Chicago and whatever.
Yep.
And so it's like they're talking about this plague of guns when we have all these other plagues of all these other things that people are dying of left and right.
Yeah.
And they're talking about, we want rifles. It's like, okay, maybe if they said something about handguns, right, where handguns are being used in crime and all this other stuff.
Right.
But they don't, they're talking, we want to take the rifles from the white guys in the Midwest who hunt with them. And you're sitting there going, it's like the lowest crime in the world is where there's a bunch of white people with guns.
Right. Very true.
And so, and they're trying to turn into that, everything is racist and everything. The founding fathers were white and they wrote the Bill of Rights, and it said that we can have guns. So they're racist, though, so that means having guns is racist. And you're sitting there going, well, yeah, white men did codify a lot of natural law in the Constitution. That's true. The right to, if you can think something, you can speak it, right? That's the right of free speech. And you have the right to protect yourself in a reasonable way, whether it's with a rock or a stick or a modern, sword or whatever, like a firearm. It doesn't matter what you're talking about. It's a right of protection. Yeah. And they want to take away all our rights, bro. And it's like, they're saying, he stood up there and said that we don't really have rights. And I mean, I get what he's saying. He's not like he's wrong, but it's just, man,
evil.
He's going off the rails, man. He wants to take away all the good guns. He doesn't say anything about the gangs or the cartels or any of these other people who are involved in real crime. He wants to take away the guns from the law-abiding citizen. It's just crazy.
It is.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right about that, man. I couldn't have said it better, honestly.
Yeah, and, Myanmar, Hank, I think Myanmar is better off now under the military junta, and we'll see where that goes. But they're getting rid of all the degeneracy, all the poppy fields, all that stuff.
Oh, good.
And maybe they are bad guys, but they're at least bad guys getting rid of
bad things.
Women's rights and gay marriage and poppy fields. I mean, that's pretty good. I don't know what else.
I haven't heard that. Yeah, thank you for the update on
that.
I appreciate the update on that, Robert, because I don't trust what I hear on CNN. when they say they cast the junta, the military junta that took over Myanmar, or however you pronounce it, which is formerly also known as Burma, I am very leery of their criticisms. So interesting, Robert. Appreciate it. Good to hear from you.
I did hear stuff on CNN about they were committing these like racial or religious persecutions and genocides, and I don't know if that's true or not, Hake. I mean, if they're going along willy-nilly killing people who are innocent, like, you know, farmers or whatever, then yeah, it's bad. If they're fighting against people trying to, you know, subvert and destroy the nation, like, you know, then at the same time, you know, what do you want them to do? Like, if they want to bring in, you know, communism, right? Like, if they want to, like they're doing here, shutting down all the businesses, you know, that's communism, right? So they can tell you that you can't produce in your business. They can tell you to do anything, right? That you go home and starve to death. So, I mean, yeah, it's they're trying to implement communism everywhere. True. If these guys are fighting against it and are fighting against degeneracy, then, you know, I don't know who they are. I don't know if they're Muslims. I don't know. I don't know who they are. Hey, that's the problem is I don't really know what's going on over there.
Right.
But it's crazy, man. It's like literally on the other side of the globe Earth, right?
Yes. Thanks again, Robert. Good to hear from you, man. Take care.
Hey, I'll see you later, man. Bye.
All right. Yeah, I mean, look at how they're cast Trump. Look at how CNN and every other media outlet cast Trump as the worst. So are you really going to believe what they're saying about the other stuff elsewhere in the world? I'm leery. Very leery. Let me just double check the super chats. Cobra Koi 99 on trovo.live/The Hake Report says, Hake, would you ask Tony or Earl if they did go on the fallen state, if they're willing to go on a lie detector device for the whole interview? Interesting. I think that some of these people are so used to lying that they may pass the lie detector test. Those things are unreliable. See, Azadors says that DMX's manager says he's not dead. He's still on life support. TMZ says he's dead at 50. Fox News says he's dead at 50. The problem with these media outlets is they want to be the first, you know, they want to be the ones to break the story. Breaking the story means the first to present the story, right? And they did that to Officer Brian Sicknick. They said that he was dead before he was actually even dead. Evil, sleazy media outlets. So, well, if he's only mostly dead, then I wish you well, DMX. And apologies if I was misreporting, but I kind of kept it as a according to them, you know. Lin Yen Chin with the Trovo super cap says, "'Tis only my bias, but it seems as if Chris is above average IQ. I don't know if that's only your bias. His level of wisdom seems sufficiently cultivated to secure him from spiraling in paranoia." Interesting point. That spiral defines those whose wisdom can't offset the gravity of their own imagination and emotions. Be still and know. Thank you, Lin Yen Chin. I don't know if IQ really has to do with that so much, not going crazy. But Chris says, I overcame the black pill a while ago. Nice. No black pills. NBP. Right on. Everything white with Chris. His soul, his pills, which he doesn't really take pills, but just the truth, just the simple truth. Right on. And Joel Friday, I didn't think of him as back talking. He didn't talk back, but he did. He was willing to disagree on fine points with JLP. He wasn't exactly sassy. Sassy Joel. Wow. Okay. Let me talk with Bobby in Texas. He has an interesting question. Bobby, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, James. How are you doing, buddy?
Doing fine, thank you.
Good. Yeah, it's kind of a weird question. I've been thinking about over the last probably 24 hours or so is what is your opinion to be the best way to get rid of liberals in Texas or, any state? Doesn't have to be Texas, but any state. What's the best way to get them to want to go somewhere else?
I've never thought of this before, but be a man. When you're a man, when you're a man, people who aren't men or who are man or manliness averse don't want to be around you. The old school, I hate to use this word, forgive me, parents, but the old school, I don't want to say it. The old school guys that just were kind of jerks, they would just, they're tough to be around because they're tough. They call you out if they see anything wrong or even questionable. And it's like, do I even want to be here? I can't stand being here. These old Americans are a pain to be around. I think that might be a good way to do it.
I kind of feel like liberals think they are man or manly. I think that they don't realize that they're betas. They're right. Completely lost, and people want to move to places like Texas because they think they are something that they're not. They're like, oh, I'm cool. I'm a man, and they don't realize that they're not even, they're not even close.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe give some money to Colorado and put something in where they could get free transgender surgeries in Trinidad. Maybe that if they moved out of Texas, I don't know, maybe give them some free land in New Mexico since it's cheap there.
No, I wouldn't give them anything. I don't know.
You got to get them out. If we don't get them out, they're just going to keep ruining the state and pushing us into more and more like California.
I think it's not so much a physical solution. It's a spiritual solution, man.
Pray for them.
I mean, you have to be an example. Snap them out of it, or else either you snap out of it yourself. Then you're not worried about the world around you, and you can deal with the evil. But this whole numbers game that they're playing, we're falling into this numbers game thing, and people are despairing. There's a lot of whites who've given up on America, who have gone into believing in whiteness rather than what's right, and they've surrendered America over. And some of them have gone to, let's just go for Joe Biden. He's going to give us the Andrew Yang bucks, the socialism stuff.
Right. That's what's so, and I almost kind of think possibly it's not so much that we have an overrun on liberals as maybe that people are just so, uninformed that they voted for Biden because they thought Trump was bad, and maybe if we do have another,
there's a little bit of that. It's not just an info war, although it is that too. There is a big problem with lies being pushed in the mainstream media. But if people, if people had thought for themselves or had a little bit of righteousness in them, they wouldn't fall for the lies. So you have to change the hearts.
But I almost feel like people just don't pay enough attention and aren't really interested in they hear one thing and they're like, oh, Trump's a racist. It gets propagated by the media in their face all the time. And they're just like, maybe he's not the guy to get. And maybe that is, has pushed some of those voters in that direction. I mean, I'm just grasping for some sort of hope.
No, you're dealing with a symptom. The root is why would they even believe that anyway? No matter what the media says.
Yeah.
It's good to put the truth out there and counter the lies, put the facts out there and counter the
and there's only 4% of the media is conservative. So, if anybody gets almost any form of information, it's going to be,
but this is part of
the negative light.
But you're just kind of begging the question, because why is the media so liberal? Because the culture has been rotted, and they have infiltrated the worldly people are infiltrating those things, and it is good to get into those things. Get in the media if you want to be a media guy, or get into politics if you want to be a politics guy. But it starts with you, you know? It starts with being an actual man of power. Are you a man of power? So that's the more important thing, by far.
Right.
Because don't get sucked into thinking the way that they think. Because the way they think is worldly power. And yeah, they're doing a lot of damage that way, but that's only because the Christian men are not actual Christians or actual men.
Yeah.
And then you can
letting us down.
Then you'll have the wisdom. You won't have to try to figure out. You'll have the wisdom to fight street smart, and you won't have to try to rack your brain and figure out how to get the liberals out of Texas.
Yeah. Well, also, it's good to hear from Robert. I was missing him. I always like his phone calls. I think he's a pretty smart fella. Like to hear his takes on things.
Yeah.
And also, White Chris. I think he looks great. I don't have any problem with him at all. I think he's a fine man, smart fella. I like hearing him talk too. He should get on a little bit more often as an expert, maybe even expert on your show.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, did you hear his explanation of death metal versus black metal and hair metal?
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
I love that.
Yeah, he knows his stuff. He knows what he's talking about. He's of the right mindset. I like him. I think he's a good guy. I enjoy him just as much as I like Joel.
Okay. Wow, equality.
But, yeah. Good guy.
Well, cool, man. It's good to hear from you, Bobby.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. Have a good one.
All right. You as well. Take care. 888-775-3773. Boo-hoo racism. I was reading Pocket headlines again. You know, Pocket is that dumb app that you can save articles on. Nowadays, you just use reading lists or whatever, right? But now they're suggesting articles. Like you need another liberal to suggest articles to you. You already have Apple doing it. You have Yahoo probably doing it. Yes, Yahoo definitely does it. You have Google doing it. Google is evil. I saw this headline about this black guy named Ray Fisher on Pocket, right? Because I open up Firefox to open up my Trovo or Jesse Lee Peterson's Trovo and DLive. And this Ray Fisher guy is an actor, black guy, young man, opens up about Justice League and Joss Whedon, who is a producer or something like that, and Warner's. And Josh Whedon is a director, right? I don't believe some of these people are fit for leadership, says this black guy. Like, you know. Talk about turning on people. I think he may be hurting himself, but he's also hurting other people. Over the past year, reports the so-called Hollywood Reporter, right? This is sleazy information. Over the past year, the actor has assailed the filmmaker, Joss Whedon. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right. In the studio, but in harsh but cryptic tweets. Reminds me of the princess. Is she a princess? And the Prince, Harry and Meghan Markle, for what he says was racist and inappropriate conduct. I am not so indebted to Hollywood that I haven't been willing to put myself out there. And this guy, he plays I'll get to that. Ever since June of 2020, when this Ray Fisher guy, fired off a tweet accusing Joss Whedon of gross, abusive, unprofessional, and completely unacceptable conduct on the set of Justice League. Hopefully none of you guys watched it. But if you did, you know what's going on, I guess. The 33-year-old actor has used social media in a series of interviews to lob serious allegations of racist behavior and cover-up at Warner Brothers. And I'm like, no. Don't think it sounds very serious. Sounds like a typical disgruntled worker, which aren't most people. Not me. Not Chris. Not Joel Friday. Not Joel Friday anymore. Not playing. For Fisher, who plays Cyborg, He plays a half robot, half human in this film, Justice League. The issue is no longer so much what happened in the set in 2017 after Zack Snyder was replaced by Joss Whedon. His focus has been the way the executives at Warner Film Studio and its parent Warner Media handled allegations raised by himself and others. And these studios are the scum of the earth putting out evil stuff. Look, here's a picture of this guy. He looks like a wannabe Terminator right now. Terminator is what, that Austrian? Is he Austrian? Justice League Cyborg gave the character a vile, look at me, I'm gay tone, says Lin Yan Chin. Yeah, these guys, yeah. Chris says they use racism claims to elevate themselves. Very true. Reminds me of Gabrielle Union. Remember that woman? She's a dirty woman, female black actress thing. And she's married to that NBA player, Black Lives Matter supporting Dwayne Wade. And she's misleading his son to be a transgender and pro-LGBT madness. And she made all these claims against, who's that British guy who gives no nonsense critiques to singers? He's like founded these TV shows, America's Got Talent. Simon Cowell, I think is how you pronounce the name. Simon Cowell. She accused him of stuff. Oh, she didn't like him smoking on set because he's a Brit and the Brits smoke, I guess. Whites and Asians smoke cigarettes. Excuse me. So anyway, this guy's complaining and stirring up trouble. Catherine Forrest is a former federal judge who conducted the Warner Media probe. See, people have to like follow up over this stuff. It's so dumb. She tells The Hollywood Reporter in a statement that in interviews with more than 80 witnesses, she found no credible support for claims of racial animus or racial insensitivity. Catherine Forrest, 2 R's. Catherine Forrest, is it animus? That's what Joelle has. Catherine Forrest, she's white. Catherine Boland Forrest, or maybe, I don't know if she's a white Christian or not, but a white woman, female judge, right? Sounds like a liberal. But anyway, she didn't find any insensitivity or animus. Warner Media spokesman says the company made extraordinary effort to accommodate Mr. Fisher's concerns about the investigation and to ensure its fullness and fairness. Complete confidence in the investigation process and Forrest's conclusions. Nice. Fisher was raised by a single mother, of course, and his grandmother in Lawnside, New Jersey, a community that he notes was the first self-governing black, and they capitalized black because they're kiss-ups, municipality north of the Mason-Dixon line. He says he felt a new sense of urgency to speak out when the pandemic hit and the Black Lives Matter protesters took to the streets. To Fisher, who has seen few screen credits, interesting, meaning he's a small-time actor, relatively speaking. Playing the half-man, half-cyborg machine, he's the first black superhero in the DC film universe, which was both a huge career break and a major responsibility. Isn't it so ridiculous when blacks say, oh, I feel responsibility to represent black people when they're given this type of affirmative action, right? He feels a responsibility because he represents all black people, black men. Ridiculous. This is before the Black Panther movie came out. Remember that guy died too at a young age. Aw. The guy who played Black Panther. He also played in Jackie Robinson. He played that guy, I think. Yeah, man, he lost weight. He was crazy. Died in mid-40s. But this guy is like this. He was mindful the film was overseen by almost entirely white executives and filmmakers. Hates white people, poorly raised, and yeah, exactly. Not white Christian executives and filmmakers. Because we all know that that's not a Christian industry at all. Oh, man. In fact, it's quite anti-Christian and anti-white, really. Ridiculous. So that's a guy crying about racism. And these people get rewarded in a worldly sense. It is completely ill-gotten gain. And I have another story of a young woman. I say use the term young and woman kind of loosely, who got rewarded. Dark Side of the Bear What gave a super colorful, no, not colorful, a super cap on trovo.live/the Hake Report. Says, Hake, you should get a motorcycle. What the heck? And take Holly for a ride. I mean, consult the crazy to Hot Matrix first, but go for a ride along the 101, along the ocean to the interstate sometimes. So nice. Well, thank you for the well-meaning tip, Dark Side of the Bear What. Appreciate that. Yeah. These degenerate movies, and speaking of this degeneracy, of this black victimhood, I got this tip from Big Bump. Shout out Big Bump, a real rapper. And not one likely to OD or die from the vaccine or be on life support or whatever's going on with a family man and a man. Not likely to listen to Iyanla Fix My Life types, right? Poor DMX. But shout out to Big Bump. This is from dirt.com, which is like a real estate buzz information website. Patrisse Colors, Con-Colors, buys a Topanga Canyon home. Topanga Canyon is that way somewhere. Way north and west, I would say. I think. Nearby Calabasas and all that. Black Lives Matter co-founder and former Jesse Lee Peterson show guest who ran away from Jesse. After just 10 minutes, I'll show you that in a second. Has Patrisse Colors lands a Topanga Canyon compound, and it's a multi-million-dollar. This was just reported earlier, a day or a few ago. A secluded mini compound tucked into LA's rustic and semi-remote Topanga Canyon was recently sold for a tad more than $1.4 million to a corporate entity that public records show is controlled by Patrisse Colors, 37-year-old social justice visionary. What the heck? And she's a communist. And co-founder of the and a lesbian, by the way. And a co-founder of the galvanizing and for some controversial Black Lives Matter movement. Terrorists. Colors is a UCLA. What'd I tell you about the UCLA people? Almost all of them. Blind, brainwashed degenerates. And USC, not much better. USC is a private college, sort of. Started out as Christian. University of Southern California. So-called married about 5 years ago to social activist and amateur boxer Janaya Khan, co-founder of BLM Toronto, Black Lives Matter Toronto, Canada. So Patrisse created the hashtag Black Lives Matter hashtag in 2013 in response to the perfectly reasonable, well, honestly, it's in a way it's not reasonable, George Zimmerman's acquittal in the 2012 shooting, self-defense, of Trayvon Martin. The 17-year-old, tall, you're dying tonight thug guy. According to George Zimmerman, he said, "Oh, you're going to die tonight." He even saw George Zimmerman's gun. George Zimmerman, he was grounding and pounding on George Zimmerman. Trayvon Martin was. George Zimmerman was the neighborhood watch, a white Hispanic. And Trayvon Martin was looking suspicious to him. Called the cops. Don't know what he was doing. He just had Skittles and iced tea. It was not iced tea. It was Arizona watermelon cocktail. Some people think it was for lean, which is a purple drank type of thing, right? Anyways, the largely decentralized movement, communist, has been at the influential forefront on issues of police brutality, which doesn't exist, and racially motivated violence against black people, which hardly exists, except from Mexican gangs or Hispanic gangs. Particularly in the wake of George Floyd's death. They call it a killing, I call it a death. Last summer that sparked massive protests across the United States and around the globe. Patrisse Concolors published When They Call You a Terrorist, a Black Lives Matter memoir. She is a terrorist. She's an evil person. And she published that in 2018. A winding 15-minute drive from the Commons at Calabasas. What a queen. Look at the pictures of this compound that her organization, whatever organization that she runs or controls. This is a $1.4 million property. Ill-gotten gain. Looks like heaven, but she's in hell within. Look, beautiful. Hilly. Got some sunshine, green, nice dirt. The indoors have these vaulted ceilings and beautiful wood stuff. Nice big kitchen. And believe me, she uses that kitchen, or she uses kitchens. Look at that. That looks very nice, but inside of her, she won't enjoy that. Not really. Because she has no peace within. She was interviewed on the Jesse Lee Peterson show in December 2014, I think. I got her on the show. Yeah, I was producer back then. I remember because I was up in the upstairs office because we had flooding down in the downstairs, and we were tearing out and refurbishing the place, mostly on our own, or much of it on our own, using just the most responsible means that you can think of. Anyway, she hung up on JLP because she's like, oh, I suffered. My dad had to work 2 or 3 jobs. My mom had to work. My dad worked for GM. She grew up north somewhere, not far from LA. And then she's all, oh, my parents had to struggle because we live in a capitalist system or something like that, right? And I put up the interview like months or maybe even a year or 2 later. And Jesse Lee Peterson asked her, do you believe in capitalism or do you support capitalism? She's all, I support systems that help people, blah, 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 blah. Do you support capitalism? I support blah, 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 blah. Do you support capitalism? I don't understand your question. Do you support capitalism or not? Click. She couldn't answer the question. That's a communist. Communists do not, evil people, you'll notice it in yourself sometimes when you're asked a direct question. You don't answer the question directly. Communism is just another word that I use it kind of interchangeably with evil. Deception, subversion, hatred, and exploitation of the female mindset. And she got a female mindset, except she's like, so she's a lesbian type of thing, or bisexual. Life is hard, buy a helmet, says Colin Barrett. So and then I was texting with her. I didn't think to save the texts, but I was like, oh, I think you got disconnected. Jesse Lee Peterson and Andre at the time, who was the board operator. Andre is the man who trained Joelle Friday, no longer here. And they played the chicken song on this girl. I'm like, wait, she says she didn't hang up, because she's all, I didn't hang up. And so I'm like, okay, good, let's reschedule. Because I was like texting her, emailing with her maybe. And then what happened, it's hard for grifters to go off script, says Ghostwriter. Yeah, they don't like challenge. So what happened later on, months later, I'm thinking, oh, she didn't hang. I don't know if she really hung up, because you know me. All what do you call that? Believing stuff that's just being a sucker for gullible white that I was at the time. I see this a few months later, March 2015, Ella Baker Center. These are tweets, Patrisse Cullors related tweets. Patrisse Cullors is being recognized by the NAACP as a 2015 NAACP, National Association Against Colored People, history maker. We're so proud of you, Osope. Back then, her Twitter handle was Osope. Hashtag BLM. I'm like, oh, very interesting. It was retweeted by a pastor guy whom I had on the Jesse Lee Peterson show too, a black male simp. Very interesting. We had Patrisse Cullors on the radio show last December. Would you be willing to join again? And she's all, don't bother being on this radio show. It's violent and demeaning. I'm like, whoa, what the heck? So after this, I put it up online. And so this black male simp of a pastor responded to her, and he's all, yeah, sis. So he's calling this black child of Satan, daughter of Satan, his sister. So his father's Satan too. Yeah, sis, been there, done that. They are even insensitive to some of my evangelical friends. That's what this pastor Michael McBride said. I'm like, oh, okay. Didn't know that. Because he pretended like he was taking it all in stride, right? And Patrisse Cullors says, I just blocked him. Referring to me, right? Because I was a producer. So please don't bring him in my mentions. I hung up on him 10 minutes into the interview. Oh, so you did hang up, you lying commie? So that was my proof that she hanged up. I might have even put these screenshots in the YouTube video of this interview, because I didn't even, back then I wasn't really focused on YouTube. I wasn't pumping out the YouTube videos the way that Joel Friday and Nicholas pump them out. Hake is so violent and demeaning. So that's my little BLM story. Everything is violence except actual violence, says Ghostwriter. Yeah. Silence is violence. No, violence is violence. Blacks are violent in the wrong way, too. So, anyway, I have a nice little hand-picked song for you. We're 4 or 5 minutes over the first hour. We're well into the second hour. Enjoy one more nice, soothing, sad song. Malkuth X was like, how come you keep on torturing us with sad songs? It's only this week. Pretty much the rest of the songs, well, I guess they were kind of tortured white guy music last week with Frodis. This song is called It Don't Matter If You Bleed. And it's by LN, which is Gary Murray. And LN. Enjoy this track. It's about a few minutes long. I'll probably come in after a couple of minutes. And I'll be right back for the rest of hour 2, 888-775-3773. Talk to you soon.
long and lonesome ride. Did you believe them as they led him to the cross? And it don't matter if you bleed like him. It only matters if you've loved.
I hope that you've enjoyed the LN music. Brandon says it's not quiet enough. Some people say it's a little low. Hake, we got business to discuss, says Brandon M. Your channel logo looks like Colonel Sanders, says some. Lin Yen Chin with the colorful chat says, thanks for reading my mess. Not trying to have the overlords accelerate reduction of your remaining free speech. I just slow. Thank you, Lin Yen Chin. I didn't have to read what you said about the not exactly masculine superheroes that they put in these movies. It's hard to even get through any of those so-called Justice League movies. They're silly and effeminate. And feminist. I like it. I like some of these LN songs. Hope you enjoy them. This one sounds like a Christian song to me, promoting actual love. But I don't know if he knows what love is. But thank you, Gary Murray, for the nice music. Let me just double check the Streamlabs. Streamlabs.com/The Hake Report. Oh yeah, King Alpha Nerd with a super chat. Yes, we need some AC in here. King Alpha Nerd with a super chat on streamlabs.com/The Hake Report said, I'm sorry, but I just heard Joss Whedon's name, and gotta say, I support his work. He gave me Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel. I didn't know he was in those TV shows. Those are TV shows, right? And I take these allegations with a grain of salt. Sorry, not sorry. I thought this is America. This isn't America? I'm sorry. Thank you, King Alpha Nerd. Speaking of these degenerate movies, I watched that degenerate movie. It's kind of degenerate. I Know What You Did Last Summer. I don't watch a lot of horror movies, but I watched that movie, and that has the woman who played Buffy the Vampire Slayer in it. I didn't recognize any of the actors. One of them, I said, oh, that Jennifer Love Hewitt looking girl. And then it turned out it actually was her. And then the other one, I said, oh, that, who's that guy? Keanu Reeves guy. That Keanu Reeves, I actually called him Keanu Reeves, but I knew it wasn't. But it turned out to be Freddie Prinze Jr., who some of you guys probably know that it's a famous person, but that's me. Sheltered. Don't know these people. Peter from Periscope with the super chat on streamlabs.com/The Hake Report says, Hake, can you play Rough Riders anthem during the break in honor of DMX? The family-friendly version, of course. May his soul rest in peace. Yeah, and it sounds like he might actually, these reports may or may not actually be real. I don't know if I can play that anthem. I don't know if I'll feel like doing it. But he slipped and he fell, and he may not be able to get up. What a shame. DMX, gone too soon. IMO, early death, right? 50 is a bit young. The family says it, according to Fox News. But thank you, Peter from Periscope. Salute to the king, DMX. I don't know if he's a king. Hey! Oh, no. Oh, I gotta show this to you guys. at the request of Hot Computer Smell. She asked for it yesterday. I'm putting a few clips in the folder, so I'll ask them for them in like a minute. Hopefully they transfer. Hot Computer Smell with a super chat on streamlabs.com/The Hake Report and says, when you warn of an idea being a slippery slope to communism, you're mocked. When communism actually arrives, the same people say it's not a bad idea, and you're shamed for not supporting it. Yep, that's the scam. Very true. Hashtag blessed. What are you blessed about? What is that from? I forget. Do you know? You remember?
I was just saying because the air.
Oh, yeah, the air, the AC. Yes, we feel very blessed. So, yeah, can you play this clip? 24-1A shows the background of this dead Joe Biden being dramatic just about a year ago when he was running for president. This is Joe Biden on the Breakfast Club talking to Charlemagne the Simp. He calls himself the God, but a God would not vote for Kamala Harris. He says, I didn't vote for Joe Biden, I voted for Kamala Harris. That's called a simp, a black simp. Charlemagne the black simp. Charlemagne, the real Charlemagne, was white. This guy called himself, I don't know. Anyway, I forgot what his real name is, too. I looked it up for the boomers. But listen to Joe Biden posturing about the COVID thing, like a typical phony politician. Listen to this.
Right now, there's a study out of Columbia University and the Disease Control Center up there. They pointed out that if he had listened to me and others and acted just 1 week earlier to deal with this virus, there'd be 36,000 fewer people dead. And you guys are wondering, what's he doing? Come on, man. Get a life. Get a life. This guy has been incredibly terrible.
That's right, Joe Biden. You tell it. Trump has been incredibly terrible. Don't you all agree? Come on, man. Get a life. Get a life. That's the only time that he speaks freely because he's so used to saying that. Charlemagne the God. Come on, man. Nice. His real name is Leonard. No O in that word, Leonard. Larry McKelvey. Oh, is he Irish? Leonard Larry McKelvey. That's the real name of this radio talk show host. So, play that dead. This is part D. Part D. Top of the morning to you. That's how Charlemagne talks when he's not performing as a black on radio. Anyway, here's him saying dead. One more time.
Dead.
That's funny. I didn't catch that Charlemagne said, typical phony black, oh yeah, so true. Well, I mean, he's being interviewed. Powerful. So, I don't know if you'll be, well, I didn't call it a normal clip, but it's called Joe Biden Dead, Current 93 Frolic. When he said dead, it reminded me of this, this dark white boy music that I listened to in my days, right? By a group called Current 93. Probably some of you guys are familiar with it. And they had a song, I think, called Frolic. Or maybe that was the album, I forget. And so I put music to it. And I hope you enjoy this brief little drop. I just like it. This is Joe Biden with Current 93 as background music with vocals.
Dead.
Isn't that creepy? Do it one more time.
Dead. Dead.
Isn't it so creepy to have a child scream out dead? I don't think he's an American, that Current 93 guy. He's supposed to be a Christian, though. But dark Biden, dark Joe Biden, dark on the inside. Morbid, depressing, and people think that he has compassion. No, he doesn't. Not, at least not in the real sense. I can play it on a loop next time. Nice. That's so creepy. Current 93 is good but weird, and Biden is even creepier. Creepy Joe. Biden is a puppet. Yeah, you're right. Kilo Alpha 1. He is a puppet. When he's introducing all of these attack on the guns, and he says, this is not an impingement, it's actually infringement. Well, impinge too. On your Second Amendment, he lies and says that. He's a liar. He told Congress, enough prayers. You know, because the phony politicians say thoughts and prayers, right? And since these people mock God, they don't even believe in God or prayer, even though Joe Biden pretends like he's a Catholic, right? He's even bad for a Catholic, because there's a lot of Catholics who are just complete degenerates, like many normal Christians, right? I say normal because in America, a normal Christian is a Protestant or a non-Catholic, right? But even though normal Christians are not normal or Christian anymore. But Biden wants action on our gun rights, and he called gun violence an epidemic, and he called it an international embarrassment, as if he cares about the dignity of America. He appointed a female to, of all the females, he appointed Kamala Harris to be his so-called VP. Talk about a lack of dignity. And he himself, he's like, he seems to be, what is that word, sunsetting or something like that? Like he should be in a home. But no, he's too arrogant. He doesn't want to, he wants that to his name. Wonder what goes through his mind if he's aware that he's in no condition to even be a phony politician anymore. You know what I mean? Mentally, physically speaking, he's gotten almost sickly skinny and a mess. And as Robert from Kansas pointed out, the occasional mass shootings, like, we don't want those, but the guns are not the problem. The degenerate culture is. The messed up families, the passing out of all these drugs, the evil, the loss of love, right? JLP's theme this year for church is we're bringing back love. He wants the evil DOJ going after ghost guns. How many people are killed with ghost guns? Self-assembled, sometimes 3D printed firearms on the rise in big cities, according to this far-left female outlet, The Skin, without serial numbers that cannot be traced. In other words, freedom guns. But some bad dudes, bad hombres, are getting these, I guess. But some good hombres, too. That's the answer. They're going after these stabilizing braces as if thugs are going around with stabilizing braces on their pistols so that they have a short barrel rifle type of a thing, allegedly used in the Boulder shooting. What was the Boulder shooting? I can't even keep track anymore. Colorado? They want evil red flag laws. Red flag laws. Isn't that what... You know who was double talk about this too? That rhino. And don't fall for the rhinos, guys. That rhino with the eye patch who, yeah, he lost the eye in the war or something. To quote the Pete Davidson who barely moved out of his mother's house. What's that guy's name? Dan Crenshaw. Total phony. And he was talking out of both sides of his mouth about these red flag laws. He went on Joe Rogan. He pretended to be anyway, whatever. Red flag laws let so-called family members and probably female so-called significant others, right? Girlfriends. They're going to do it to women too, but it's mostly going after men, right? And officials, cops or whoever, doctors maybe, ask a court to steal a man's firearm from him, take it away from him, take away his property and his gun, violate his rights if he supposedly presents a danger to himself or others in society, right? And that's going to be misused. They don't catch the people who are an actual threat. The FBI gets tips. I think the FBI got tips about that Nick Cruz, right? Is it Nicholas Cruz, the guy who shot up on Valentine's Day a few years ago? Yeah, over there in at Marjorie Taylor Douglas or whatever, Florida, in Palm Beach County somewhere. Shot up this school, Parkland, Florida. The FBI, I think, was warned about him. The FBI was warned, or America was warned by Russia about the Tsarnaev brothers. I've told you guys all this before, you know. So it's not as if they just go after whites. And occasionally they'll pretend like they're doing something right. Joe Biden or his puppet masters want the ATF. What a name, ATF. Alcohol, tobacco, firearms, and explosives. What business do you have meddling in those odd combination of things, right? Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives to publish an annual report on weapons trafficking and spend $5 billion over 8 years into community programs, which aren't getting at the root issue. Programs. It's just giving money to local Democrats, really, and dumb activists who only go after symptoms and not the root. The root is the morals, the family, right? But if they had morals, they wouldn't be Democrats anymore, and they don't want that. More than 100 Americans die each day at the hands of guns. Probably like 30% are suicides. And guns don't have hands, by the way. Kamala Harris was with him. She was the former attorney general in California. Can you believe that? And Merrick Garland, who was Obama's Supreme Court pick, but we didn't get him in the Supreme Court, thank God. But he's the attorney general now. Nothing I'm about to recommend in any way impinges on the Second Amendment, liar. Enough prayers, it's time for action. Gun Owners of America is an organization that you may consider supporting. I think I support them. I'll have to double check. I'm an NRA lifetime member. Twice over, I think. Said his orders will dismantle the Second Amendment. NRA sometimes kind of rhino, they don't go far enough. Gun Owners is probably much more based. Gunowners.org. Check them out. Because we got to stand together. ATF, acting the fool. That's right. And by the way, the fact checkers had to fact check, to quote Hillary Clinton, on Joe Biden because he even said stuff that was like blatantly untrue, and it was going to be too embarrassing for the liberal communist fact checkers not to check him on it. So he's so far off that the far left communists had to be like, oh, well, this part wasn't true. Gun buyers are required to pass background checks at gun shows if they are buying from a federally licensed vendor, say fact checkers. Because the point is, Joe Biden made a few misleading claims in his speech about gun control on Thursday morning. According to fact checkers across organizations, federally licensed gun sellers must provide background checks by law. And I'm not really for those things. Because who's checking the feds? Nobody. Nobody's checking the feds. The people anyway, you guys know. I got to get to some calls. 888-775-3773. It's ridiculous. Drew is a first-time caller in Florida. Drew, how are you doing?
Good, James. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
I was calling to ask you a question, but real quick on the background check thing. I actually went to a gun show, and not only did I have to get a background check, they wouldn't even let me buy a gun because, right, driver's license, because it was a different state. So that stuff's pretty strict.
Yeah. Right.
So, what a mess.
Yeah, I mean, you have to wait. In California, you have to wait 10 days. You have to pass some test, wait 10 days, and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. So, yeah, they rejected me pretty quick. So it's like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
But anyway, my question was, I've had a few people now tell me that God hates evil, and that'll be their excuse to hate.
Yeah.
So they say hating isn't wrong. So I wonder what you thought about that.
We're not God, and the way that he hates isn't the way that we hate. It is so like it's okay to hate the action and not the person. Think about if you do that. Think about if you do that. That's just an excuse. You're really hating you're really hating. All you're doing is hating. And a child doesn't know the difference, and God doesn't know the difference. So that's my take on it. Is that you're not supposed to be. You're supposed to overcome evil with good, and if you're hating the evil, you're overcome by it.
Yeah,
so that's my take on it.
Because then it starts to.
If you hate what your child is doing, and you respond like that, that child is going to feel the hatred from you. The child is not going to be like, "Oh, he only hates my actions, not me. That makes it feel all better." No, they feel the hatred from you, from the parent. So.
That's a really good way to put it. Yeah, because they won't differentiate. Yeah, that makes total sense.
And I think that's how God sees it too.
Yeah, man. Wow, I never thought about it like that. That makes sense. Yeah, cause I've had a few people say that, and I don't know. It doesn't line up, but I couldn't think of why it doesn't line up. You know?
Yeah.
And when I hear people say that, because like you said too, we're not God, so.
Right. Yeah.
Who are we to even hate, or even to make that judgment to say, well,
yeah,
God
exactly.
hates, so I can hate.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Also, the Bible says, "Vengeance is mine. I will repay," says the Lord. And it also says, "Man's anger does not bring about the righteousness of God." And also it says, "Get rid of all anger and rage and bitterness," and all that stuff. So it's just endlessly over and over and over again. The Bible is quite clear. So it's funny that the Bible thumpers pick out the "be angry but sin not." It's a command to be angry. And then 4 verses later, they ignore the fact that it says "get rid of all anger." So it's, and also that's that "be angry but sin not," that's a reference to a psalm that actually says something along the lines of like, stand in awe or tremble and do not sin. Be angry and do not sin. Stand in awe or tremble and do not sin. So the whole translation of the word anger, people get hung up on the word and pick up on this word that says be angry, ignore all the other words that say do not be angry, and man's anger doesn't bring about it. And they just ignore the main point of what the Bible says. Do not sin. Do not be angry. Oh, I'm going to sin until the day I die. Oh, I can be angry. God is angry. Yeah. It's phony.
Man, that makes so much sense. Yeah, it is phony because it's like, it's just cherry picking, kind of like what you said. Well,
right.
Just pick and choose what verses work for whatever situation I'm in.
Yeah.
Man, that's so interesting. Wow.
Isn't it so wild how it's communist. I use everything for communist, right? You take what something actually says and means and flip it on its head to mean the exact opposite of what it's actually saying. When Jesus says be perfect.
In whatever way it benefits you at the time.
Right.
That's the way I'm going to use it.
Yep. Yeah.
Huh.
Great question, because this stuff, like, it's so weird how people, it just shows you how even us non-liberals, because there's conservative Christians who love what's right and everything, and they love Jesse, but they disagree with him on this or that, and they cite these different verses to justify continuing to sin or being angry. And it's such a setup. It's a deception that infects all of us. That's why we have to, like I was telling the guy who wants to get rid of the liberals from Texas, we got to really check ourselves. I used to worry as a teenager, oh, I don't want my friends to go to hell. And meanwhile, like, I was in hell and going to hell, you know? So.
Oh, that's so true, man. Yeah. That is I mean, I grew up in the church too.
Yep.
So basically growing up in the church, yeah, it was like, it'd be nice if we were perfect, but you're never going to be perfect. And it's just like, well, you're messed up from day one then, because where do you go from there? Because it's like, they'll teach you, oh, well, everyone's born good, but you can't be perfect. And I was just thinking, well, then what's the point of Jesus? If we're already good and we can't be perfect, we don't need anyone.
Exactly.
We've reached the limit.
Yeah, it
never made sense to me.
And that's what they do to JLP. They say, oh, and if JLP says he's perfect, he's canceling out Christ. No, it's because he believes in Jesus. He believes what Jesus said. And they're the ones who are canceling out what Jesus said and canceling out Jesus. They don't even know God. So
yeah, because you replace Jesus is what it seems like.
Yeah, like there's
the person replaces. Oh, I'm going to be Jesus. I'm going to be my own Jesus instead of.
I think that they think that humility means that they admit that they sin. That's what humility means to them, and that's not humility. Humility is overcoming it, and it's not. It's not. Oh, I'm in. That's how these people think that they're real Christians, because they say, I'm a sinner, but at least I admit it. And that's that fake Christian, oh, I'm not perfect either. They think that that's...
Yeah,
they think
definitely
that's,
grew up in the church.
Right. They say that that's not...
All these same tropes.
Right. Oh, I'm not self-righteous because I'm a sinner just like you. Well, then why do I want to become a Christian? That's their witness to Christians, to sinners, I mean.
Oh, wow.
What a scam.
It is a scam, yeah. And it's like, well, we'll just keep being good but not perfect and give in our tithes.
And then they judge Trump, some of them. And like Trump is better than them in certain ways.
Or it's like, God doesn't have a political party, but also I can't vote for Trump. Like, okay, well.
They're just like the rhinos, and they don't know it. And they criticize rhinos, many of these people, but they are just like them because they cave on these things. And when things come up in their lives, like homosexuality and amongst their family or friends, they'll just end up caving to it and accepting it. They'll cave to the feminists, the black thing. They'll kiss up to blacks if they're white, and all of that stuff. It's such a terrible shame.
Yeah. So the humility, you think, is more of just saying, you know what, I can't do it, and then God can do it.
I don't know. I think
knowing you're not.
I see JLP and Trump as being two examples of humble men, and people don't think of Trump as being humble, but I think of him as being humble. He listens. He is just. He comes off as a humble man to me, but people don't think of him that way. They think he's narcissistic and stuff like that, when it's really them thinking that about him. But that's how they are.
Yeah.
Just because he promotes himself, they think that's not humble. That's prideful. He's a prideful man. But you have to promote yourself to get along in the world, because the mainstream media is not going to promote him anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. They kick him off everything.
Right. They call him a racist.
Yeah, it's so phony.
Yeah. That's interesting call, Drew. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. Looking forward to you guys coming down here.
Yeah, you're going to be able to make it to Orlando in August for the men's conference?
Hopefully. I mean, I don't know for sure because it's not here, but if I can, I'm going to get out there. I mean, it's not far from where I am, so.
Well, make sure that you and the listeners that you're on the email list for Bond, and as well as the mailing list, and check in and make sure that we're going to be updating you guys on the exact date and location and all that stuff as we go along.
Do you have any idea how long it's going to be? Like, is it a weekend thing?
I think it'll be.
You're not sure yet.
I don't know. We'll send out the details. But it's going to be, I think it will entail a Saturday, and we'll go from there. Nice. So, yeah, it'll be fun. Men's conference traditionally has been men only. So keep an eye out, guys. Sometimes the ladies have volunteered and helped on the far outside. We keep them far outside. Last year, a couple of years ago, we had some of the ladies helping out, selling books and tickets and things like that out in the hall.
But outside, not actually.
Yeah, exactly. Have you come to anything before?
Yeah, I've met you before, but it was like last summer. You probably, I don't know if you remember, but I asked you about who had done the theme song that you guys used for Jesse's radio show.
Yeah. Cool. You came to church or what? Or the men's forum or what?
Yeah. No. My wife and I were going to church there.
Nice.
But then we moved to Florida. We were living in LA.
Oh, okay. Wow. Cool, man. Well, that sounds like a good move. Not that I encourage running away from California, but Florida is a great place right now, I'm hearing.
It is awesome, but I definitely ran away.
You did?
I did it out of anger, yeah. And
any regrets about it?
Well, I did, but now I'm just taking it a day at a time. But
yeah, that's all you can do.
I realized, because after I moved, then I went in person and forgave my parents, and things became a lot clearer, and I realized that I did run, and I should have just,
stayed there and fight it out?
Yeah, I should have waited, because I was just forcing something that I didn't actually know what to do. So
right. Yeah, that's... The Bible says, remain in the position that you are, and not, if you're a slave and you can get your freedom, but don't try to force something before God has it happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're over there, making do. I'm glad that you found that out about yourself. That's cool.
No, yeah, it was, so, good came of it, but,
yeah.
Sometimes you got to suffer and take that responsibility for what you did. So,
any white babies, or are you white even?
I am white, yes.
Nice. Is
but I can't make white babies because my wife is not white, so I can make half white babies.
All right. Oh well. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. There's that excuse again. Such a worldly statement. Chris is like, traitor.
He's like, you guys just talked about being perfect. What are you doing?
I know. Exactly. Well, I wish you well, Drew. Hope to meet you again someday.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Nice call. Yeah, take care.
Yeah, see you.
All right. So, I actually put in this fake hate, this white power thing. Put in this white power folder. I think I put it in there. Just right now. Because last week, I saw this from Andy No. I saw you guys were sending some emails. Saw it on Fox News and elsewhere. It's like kind of big headlines. But honestly, it's just another story. And it's so typical. Andy No, who's out of the country now, hiding from Antifa. He's in exile. Meanwhile, the enemies of America are running the show. He says, last week, shocking, which to me it's not very shocking, but shocking racist messages. It's not racist, but he's doing his best, Andy No. Appeared on the campus of Albion College in Michigan. And you probably saw this on the Jesse Lee Peterson show. He did report on it today. I forget which hour. Prompting a large response from the administration of this college. Today, the FBI was even put on standby. The FBI, white something? Oh, let's get in there. Today, Albion police announced that a black student admitted to the crimes. And what are the crimes? I see 4 photographs. Indoor tagging with like with a black marker or a crayon or something on the walls, or both. One has the Star of David, which is that 6-pointed star thing with a pentagon in it. Pentagon? Hexagon. And it says 666. Interesting. I wonder what that's supposed to mean. Do you know what that's supposed to mean? Are they calling... I guess they're calling them the children of Satan or something. They hate the Jews or something. And then it says KKK white power on a painted cinder block or whatever this thing is. Maybe it's in the hallway or in the bathroom or something. KKK white power next to a flyer. And then it says Albion, I guess this is what it says. Albion is in this name of this college. Is racist. We do exist. KKK. Okay. Die N-words, please, with R. Hard R. Die N-words, please. DNP. Wow. Okay. And Albion College, April 5th. Crazy, huh? And thankfully, Mr. No, Andy No, censored that photograph. Censored the N-words. But Albion College tweeted out April 5th, just 4 days ago or whatever. We stand together with our black students. And they capitalized the word black because they're kiss-ups and they don't know proper English. Black students, alumni, faculty, staff, and the broader community members in condemning the recent acts of racism on campus. Hatred and injustice have no place at Albion and will not be tolerated. And it has a picture of dismembered dark-skinned hands of various shades. Hashtag we are not going anywhere. With raised communist enemies of America fists. Anti-human fists. Women who like to kill babies wear that fist. Blacks who like to falsely accuse whites and cops of racism use that fist. Communists and socialists and union workers who are useful idiots for communism use that fist. Black power. Hate symbol. Hate symbol. And Albion College went on with a thread actually, and said we are currently investigating who is responsible for the racist graffiti. Graffiti's not racist, and it's hardly graffiti. Graffiti. When I think of graffiti, which I don't use marker on walls either, unless I'm supposed to. But graffiti is when it's like big with spray paint on a outdoors. An eyesore, but this is an eyesore still. We are currently investigating who is responsible for the racist graffiti on our residential buildings, and we will seek criminal charges against those involved. And the FBI wants to call it a hate crime, right? If they are Albion College students, they will be immediately subject to the student conduct process, including potential for suspension or expulsion. We cannot become a true community of belonging until everybody feels safe on campus. Who gets more coddled than blacks? Give me a break. And it is our responsibility to continuously reaffirm our commitment to anti-racism, meaning anti-white, through both words and actions. Artwork credit LaRhonda Richardson. Oh, she's the one who made those dismembered hands with the fists. POC hands. Various colors except for white. Sounds like a black. LaRhonda. With a capital R. Interesting. And you saw on the Jesse Lee Peterson show the marching of the whites and the blacks and the Jews and the POCs together. Oh, this is terrible racism, racism, racism. According to Andy No, he tweeted out 22 hours ago, Albion College has not informed the public or its student body that the so-called racist white supremacist messages were part of a hashtag hate hoax by a black student on campus. And like most of the time, these things are blacks. Has it any of the time been a non-black? Or I mean, at one time it was a white gay. He tagged up after Trump was elected. This white gay, and I don't know if he was a white Christian gay, but he worked at a Christian church. Maybe he was not a normal white, but he tagged up like a swastika on the side of the church that he worked at as an organ player or something like that. But usually it's blacks, like a black female or a black kid or a black, usually college student. These educated blacks. As seen regularly, Andy No says, the fake hate crimes usually act as a shakedown on the administrators, who are all too willing to give extremists what they demand anyway. The black student at Albion College wrote about a fake White Lives Matter rally called for the murder of blacks. White Lives Matter rally at April 7th. Let's kill all N-words on this campus. That's what they said. And so their list of demands from the students with the communist fists, I'm going to just read it to you. I don't have the screenshots for you. We want to see the increase in diversity in Albion College professors. We want to see an increase in the minority history, celebrated, glorified, and acknowledged. An establishment of a financial literacy program. An increase in networking opportunities for minority students. Increased campus involvement with the community to bridge the divide between the college and the surrounding community. APU did that a little bit too. The fake Christian community college that not community college, the fake Christian private university that I attended, they were kissing up. They were accused of, this is a mostly white campus in a mostly Hispanic neighborhood. And the Hispanic neighborhood sometimes had crime. Azusa, California. I thought Azusa was like mostly white because of APU, right? Azusa Pacific University. But no, actually, there were reports in Azusa, California of blacks getting targeted by Hispanics in the Hispanic gang members targeting blacks at random. That was happening 10, 13, 14 years ago, targeting blacks to push them out of the communities because the Hispanic gang members were taken over. Crazy, huh? And of course, there was a BLM demonstration at Albion College, a bunch of useful idiots. Response to what were obviously staged racist messages. Instead of wasting money on the diversity administration, the college should make it mandatory for students to learn investigative and thinking skills, says Andy No. That's what he judges in his judgment. And, I don't know if it's thinking skills. That's what one of my callers, Bobby in Texas, thinks. It's like these people, if they had exposure to more information, maybe they wouldn't be so blind. But I think it's not yes, it's information, but it's a predisposition to believe lies. JLP says, when you're angry, it's easy to believe a lie and it's hard to believe the truth. I think there's a lot to that. It's not just IQ. Anyway. Yeah, I mean, I gave a story of this guy, this white guy, so-called white, who gave this TED Talk. Maybe a year ago, I presented this story. He gave a TED Talk about how his middle school or elementary or junior high school black students and POC students, they faked like KKK recruitment flyers, and they had printed them out themselves, and then he caught them, and instead of punishing them, he still kissed up to them. And it's just like the hands up, don't shoot was a lie. There was a Washington Compost writer, I'm blanking on his name, but he said, hands up, don't shoot, it was a lie, referring to Mike Brown in Ferguson, Missouri, who got shot by Darren Wilson, who was fired anyway or let go or whatever. Darren Wilson did his job, and he did it perfectly. I mean, there was no evidence he did anything that violated protocol. And they said, it was a lie, but racism is still a problem. It's ridiculous. Let me get to Art in Ohio. He wants to get it off his chest about DMX, the rapper. How are you doing, Art? It's good to hear from you.
Hey, how you doing? Hey?
Doing well, thank you.
Hey, so we don't want to say no names, but allegedly, I'm gonna give you the description of who I'm talking about, so the audience you can know who I'm talking about.
Okay.
So it's the guy who's running allegedly the state, and his son was allegedly in the back of the car smoking crack, and his laptop got found or something, and it had all the pictures on there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Biden.
What was it?
Biden. Hunter Biden.
Okay.
Son of Joe. What a mess of a family, so-called family.
So you said, what's it? Oh, yeah. Okay. Let me see if I can do it. Okay. Stop. Hold up. Stop. Honey. Is that crack rock? Oh, no. That's how them beta males roll.
I should employ you to do my break music and my intro music while I'm talking and while I'm going on break. You should do it. Very nice. That's funny, and he's cracking himself up too. Stop, drop, roll.
Don't be smoking crack rocks. Oh, no. Hunter, that's not what you need to do, little bro.
Very nice, Art. Appreciate that.
Nah, something else I was saying. Have you seen that little clip? It's something that's going on YouTube where they talking about a lot of what the news has been putting out, like mainstream, meaning like the liberal ones. Not the one that I tend to watch is Fox, and I watch it a little bit.
Right.
I know they're a little biased too or whatnot. You know, I catch some of the BS they try to portray in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they tend to tell the truth more. So what I seen on that little clip, they trying to say the other ones are using opinion based instead of factual. And it's causing lawsuits because a lot of the stuff that they saying is in the terms that they trying to put out, and the people ain't getting the wording and how they putting it out, and they only showing certain stuff that they only putting it out as opinion.
Right.
So the opinion base is running through the schools, the courts, because it's like a. I'm trying to think how you want to say it. It's like more so of a triangle effect, and it's running it's running together. You see what I'm saying?
No,
they're in.
I kind of know what you're saying. You're talking about how basically like they've been trying to shape public opinion not with facts, but with their opinions and presented it as though it's real. And then the courts are just following right along with it, such as with the election and with men and families. Yeah, I kind of know what you're talking about.
And it's causing a breakdown and a ripple effect through American society and the families, and it's causing lawsuits, these courts, because when you actually look at the Constitution, how it's broke down, it's not broke down off of opinion.
Right.
And you see, so a lot of this stuff is starting to come out, and that's one of the little things that I wanted to throw out there. I know a lot of the audience get what I'm saying. I ain't really get too much into it because I just really didn't. Really, that wasn't even what I was calling about anyway. I just threw that out there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right on.
And then something else. It's like, something that one of the callers was saying about, and you were saying, I think it was like you were saying that. Hold up. And I smoked. I just got done smoking some Newport Hunters. So hold up.
Newport Hunters. Is that nicotine?
I got a nicotine. Yeah, because there we keep the kids off drugs. Long story short.
You seem like you're a little distracted or something.
Yeah, but I'm trying. I really just called in for to be funny or whatnot. So I ain't really asked nothing really serious to talk. But I heard something that one of you and your callers were saying. No, what the liberals tend to do is, it was something you were saying. Everything that we say or we try to use and throw at them, they try to flip it on us and make it seem like they were the first ones that was saying it when it was actually us. And then it was something else they do. They always cause the problem. Then they try to come rush in like Superman and try to save and act like they the heroes.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
But that's it. That's all I want. I know you probably got other things to talk about. I'll catch you.
You had mentioned DMX, and you haven't even talked about DMX to Daniel.
Well, that's what that song that I did.
That was DMX song. I didn't even catch it.
That was,
I guess I'm not much of a fan that I didn't even catch that.
Yeah. God bless him or whatnot.
Okay.
You know.
Stop, drop, roll.
And then
I still don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't know. But it was funny. It was funny even without me knowing.
Exactly.
Your presentation was excellent. Well, thank you, Art. Appreciate it. Nice to hear from you, man.
You already know. Hey, man, tell Jesse and your cast I appreciate y'all. I'll try to catch y'all next week.
Sounds good, Art. Have a good weekend.
Hey, no simping this weekend, man.
Okay, you got it.
Simping ain't easy.
Right. All right, take care. Very nice. Very nice. Hot Computer Smell gave a super chat on streamlabs.com/The Hake Report. I only know I'm slipping, I'm falling, I can't get up. I know that song, and I know that one song where he goes, what? Or is that every song? Does he say, what? In every song? And then I also know that one song, y'all about to make me lose my mind. Up in here, up in here. So white. Hot Computer Smell says with the super chat on streamlabs.com/The Hake Report, will you be at the Orlando Men's Forum in August? Rough Riders. Is that the song? Or is that another song?
Stop, drop, rolls.
Oh, that's a stop, drop, and roll song. Oh, okay. Somebody said to play the Rough Riders song. That was Peter from Periscope. I'm lost. I probably have heard it and thought it was Cisco or something. Doesn't Cisco sound like that? It's a bop, says Chris. You guys remember Cisco? Do you remember Cisco? Didn't he sound a little bit gruff like this? Or am I confused?
You're confused.
Okay. Totally confused. They all sound the same to me. I do figure that I will be at the Orlando Men's Conference in August. I figure. I haven't bought tickets or made plans yet, but I am I do attend Bond stuff, so yes, hopefully so. And I am a man, kind of. Justice S. What's up, Justice S? With a super chat on streamlabs.com/The Hake Report. Long time no here. Although I did see you in the throwback Sunday service clip. I mean, a live chat during the premiere this week. What up, Hake? What up, chat? Hope that everyone is doing well. I'm doing better. Thank you sincerely for any and all prayers. I'll be working a bit less, so I'm looking forward to kicking it with everybody soon. Have a great weekend and walk in the light, y'all. Thank you, Justice S. She's called into the Hake Report many times, as well as the Jesse Lee Peterson show. A great woman, Justice S. Very nice. Thank you. Nice to hear from you. Thank you for checking in. Double check the Trovo.live. Oh, guys. So, today is supposedly, did I give you this screenshot? Confederate surrender. According to, let me skip this Matt Gaetz thing. It's just a trash man. No, it's so sick. Matt Gaetz is under attack because he's a man, a male, and because, you know, he's a young man. Maybe he's did a little bit of degenerate stuff as a young man in this society that promotes degeneracy. Would not be a surprise, but they're trying to blame him for it. It's ridiculous, stupid. And they just, yeah, no, give me a break. Military History Now tweeted, on this day, and this is April 8th, right? Oh, no, yesterday. Okay, so yesterday. So I've been giving out fake news all day on the Jesse Lee Peterson show and today. On this day in 1865, April 8th, 1865, Robert E. Lee, the great General Robert E. Lee, that is, to you Twitter people, surrenders the Army of the Northern Virginia to Ulysses S. Grant, General Grant, at, I pronounce it Appomattox. Appomattox. Effectively ending the American Civil War. And you know what? From what I understood, Grant, Robert E. Lee is a noble American hero. Maybe even greater than Ulysses S. Grant. Probably so, honestly. But they were maybe outclassed. I don't know. They had a lot. The North had a lot of money. They were rich. But I believe that some of the soldiers fired off guns in the air to celebrate the ending of the war and be like, oh, yeah, we won. Grant, I think, stopped that or something and said, no, these are our brothers. Send them home in dignity. And they wanted to take their guns away from them, but they're like, no, let us have some guns because we're going to need them. And they were brothers. They were not traitors. They're not losers. All the people calling them losers and traitors and worse, those people are enemies of America. They're enemies of unity with our brothers, the South, the beautiful South. Some of the best people. Falsely smeared. Fake history, just like we have so much fake news, right? This has been the Hake Report, thehakereport.com/show. I mean, thehakereport.com for my stuff. JesseLeePeterson.com for Jesse Lee Peterson's stuff. I believe we have a Fallen State premiere in less than an hour. TheFallenState.tv. Make sure you're subscribed to The Fallen State. And Bond Rebuilding the Man YouTube channel for Church with Jesse Lee Peterson. This Sunday and every Sunday, live just about 11 a.m. U.S. Pacific Daylight Time. Figure it out if you're elsewhere in a different time zone. Rebuildingtheman.com/church. Enjoy your weekend, and don't simp. Take care.